"Oh, I saw that," said Teresa, mother of Courtney. A big, raspy-voiced woman who often alluded to having drunk too much wine the night before, Teresa was Sarah's favorite of the group. Sometimes, if no one else was around, the two of them would sneak a cigarette, trading puffs like teenagers and making subversive comments about their husbands and children. When the others arrived, though, Teresa immediately turned into one of them. "I thought it was cute." Of course you did, Sarah thought. There was no higher praise at the playground than cute. It meant harmless, easily absorbed, posing no threat to smug suburbanites. At her old playground, someone had actually used the C word to describe American Beauty. Not that she'd actually named the film. It was that thing with Kevin what's-his-name, you know, with the rose petals. That had been the last straw for Sarah. After exploring her options for a few days, she had switched to the Rayburn school playground, only to find that it was the same wherever you went. All the young mothers were tired. They all watched cute movies whose titles they couldn't remember. "I was enjoying it," Cheryl said. "But 15 minutes later, Jimmy and I were both fast asleep." "You think that's bad?" Teresa laughed. "Mike and I were having sex the other night, and I drifted off right in the middle of it." "Oh, well," Cheryl chuckled sympathetically. "It happens." "I guess," said Teresa. "But when I woke up and apologized, Mike said he hadn't even noticed." "You know what you should do?" Mary Ann suggested. "Set aside a specific block of time for making love. That's what Louis and I do, every Tuesday night at 9. Whether you want to or not, Sarah thought, her eyes straying over to the play structure. Her daughter was standing near the top of the slide, sucking on the back of her hand as Christian pummeled Troy and Courtney showed Isabel her Little Mermaid underpants. Even at the playground, Lucy didn't interact much with the other kids. She preferred to hang back, observing the action, as if trying to locate a seam that would permit her to enter the social world. A lot like her mother, Sarah thought, feeling both sorry for her daughter and perversely proud of their connection. "What about you?" It took Sarah a moment to realize that Cheryl was talking to her. "Me?" A surprisingly bitter laugh escaped from her mouth. "Richard and I haven't touched each other for months." The other mothers traded uncomfortable looks, and Sarah realized that she must have misunderstood. Teresa reached across the picnic table and patted her hand. "She didn't mean that, honey. She was just asking if you were as tired as the rest of us." "Oh," said Sarah, wondering why she always had so much trouble following the thread of a conversation. "I doubt it. I've never needed very much sleep." Morning snack time was 10:30 on the dot, a regimen established and maintained by Mary Ann, who believed that rigid adherence to a timetable was the key to effective parenting. She had placed glow-in-the-dark digital clocks in her children's rooms and had instructed them not to leave their beds in the morning until the first number had changed to 7. She also bragged of strictly enforcing a 7 p.m. bedtime with no resistance from the kids, a claim that filled Sarah with both envy and suspicion. She had never identified with authority figures and couldn't help sensing a sort of whip-cracking fascist glee behind Mary Ann's ability to make the trains run on time. Still, as skeptical as she was of fanatical punctuality in general, Sarah had to admit that the kids seemed to find it reassuring. None of them complained about waiting or being hungry, and they never asked what time it was. They just went about the business of their morning play, confident that they'd be notified when the proper moment arrived. Lucy seemed especially grateful for this small gift of predictability in her life. Sarah could see the pleasure in her eyes when she came running over to the picnic table with the others, part of the pack for the first time all day. "Mommy, Mommy!" she cried. "Snack time!" Of course, no system is foolproof, Sarah thought. Rummaging through the diaper bag for the rice cakes, she could have sworn she'd packed before they left the house. But maybe that was yesterday? It wasn't that easy to tell one weekday from the next anymore. They all just melted together like a bag of crayons left out in the sun. "Mommy!" An anxious note seeped into Lucy's voice. All the other kids had opened Ziploc bags and single-serving Tupperware containers and were busy shoveling handfuls of Cheerios and goldfish crackers into their mouths. "Where's my snack?" "I'm sure it's in here somewhere," Sarah told her. Long after she had come to the conclusion that the rice cakes weren't there, Sarah kept digging through the diaper bag, pretending to search for them. It was a lot easier to keep staring into that dark jumble of objects than to look up and tell Lucy the truth. In the background, she heard someone slurping the dregs of a juice box. "Where it went?" the hard little voice demanded. "Where my snack?" It took an act of will for Sarah to look up and meet her daughter's eyes. "I'm sorry, honey," she let out a long, defeated sigh. "Mommy can't find it." Lucy didn't argue. She just scrunched up her pale face, clenched her fists, and began to hyperventilate, gathering strength for the next phase of the operation. Sarah turned apologetically to the other mothers, who were watching the proceedings with interest. "I forgot the rice cakes," Sarah explained. "I must have left them on the counter." "Poor thing," said Cheryl. "That's the second time this week," Mary Ann pointed out. "You hateful bitch," Sarah thought. "It's hard to keep track of everything," observed Teresa, who had supplied Courtney with a tube of Go-Gurt and a box of raisins. Sarah turned to Lucy, who was emitting a series of whimpers that were slowly increasing in volume. "Just calm down," Sarah pleaded. "No," Lucy shouted. "No, calm down." "That'll be enough of that, young lady." "Bad, Mommy. I want snack." "It's not here," Sarah said, handing her daughter the diaper bag. "See for yourself." Fixing her mother with an evil glare, Lucy promptly turned the bag upside down, releasing a cascade of Pampers, baby wipes, loose change, balled-up Kleenex, books, and toys onto the wood-chip-covered ground. "Sweetie," Sarah spoke calmly, pointing at the mess. "Clean that up, please." "I want my snack," Lucy gasped. With that, the dam broke, and she burst into piteous tears, a desolate animal wailing that even made the other kids turn and look, as if realizing they were in the presence of a virtuoso and might be able to pick up a few pointers. "Poor thing," Cheryl said again. Other mothers know what to do at moments like this, Sarah thought. They'd all read the same book or something. Were you supposed to ignore a tantrum and let the kid cry herself out? Or were you supposed to pick her up and remind her that she was safe and well-loved? It seemed to Sarah that she'd heard both recommendations at one time or another. In any case, she knew that a good parent would take some sort of clear-headed action. A good parent wouldn't just stand there feeling clueless and guilty while her child howled at the sky. "Wait." It was Mary Ann who spoke, her voice radiating such undeniable adult authority that Lucy immediately broke off crying, willing to hear her out. "Troy, honey, give Lucy your goldfish." Troy was understandably offended by this suggestion. "No," he said, turning so that his body formed a barrier between Lucy and his snack. "Troy Jonathan, Mary Ann held out her hand.